West. I'm working on a book on the films of Jack Nicholson, and I was wondering what you thought about his interpretation of the Joker character.
It gives me a little steam in my stride. That was a line, right? Yeah, steam in my stride. I like that. But yeah, I always enjoy Jack's work. Yes, I love it. You know, there's a curious division always between movies and TV, episodic or whatever. And it's difficult when you do both to I guess where I'm going here is when I watch TV these days, and it has nothing to do with Jack Nicholson, but I see performances in a staging and things that are so brilliant, more so than some of the films I see. It's incredible. I don't know how I went there, but I think it's only because there are some film people who should be doing TV, and maybe more are now.
Nicholson was great, and of course the Joker won the posthumous, Heath Ledger posthumously won the Academy Award. He was brilliant too.
Yes, it was interesting because Heath, I thought it was good that he incorporated kind of a punk rock grunge thing to make it a little, you know, cooler, I guess.
Isn't it satisfying though that an Academy Award for a character from a comic book? I mean, because that was a first, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, don't they get overlooked like science fiction and so many other things, regardless of how brilliant the performances? Don't you think they get overlooked by the Academy a lot?
It's kind of interesting. Comedy people are overlooked a lot. And certainly, yeah.
Well, I think it was validating that he won. Next question.
I was just wondering, did any of you realize at the time that the show would have such long legs?
Anybody think they would have the longevity that you'd be here 45 years later now with this kind of fan base?
I'm not really amazed because as a viewer at home before I ever had the role, I watched avidly and I loved it. And I was a grown woman with two small children. And I wasn't letting them watch, but I watched. So it, well, I mean, they were quite small, and I didn't know what to expect, and so I didn't. And it was, but I knew that it would play and play and play. I thought it would go on forever. I really did. I was surprised when it didn't. But the fans have still, I don't know, been enamored of the show and the characters for so long, and it seems so important to them. And I know it's important to me. I loved playing a character, and I loved working with these fellas, and just, it was a blessing for me to get that job, because getting to work with them and the villains, it was a joy.
Don't you think it's a shame that today you don't have shows with those kind of legends drifting through? I mean, you have Fantasy Island and Love Boat kind of had that kind of feel, but you had legends. Legends that came, there were legends then, legends 40 years before.
Oh,
they went to Lula Bankhead. I mean, my God, the people that walked through there was phenomenal.
They fought to get on the show. They fought, didn't they? Am I right? Yes, they had their agents getting in to get them on the show, if just for an open window kind of out the, you know, and all of that. And I don't blame them. I would have been right there.
Who was your favorite villain, Burt? Really? As an actor, I want to ask you that way because you can answer it so many ways. I don't mean who you enjoyed the most. Who was you thought that was the best acted villain? The best present company accepted?
I think Batman. No. But seriously, I like working with all of them because they were great actors, and I was like a kid in a candy store, you know, wow, so many different great actors and actresses. I had a great time doing this show.
And they probably came out of a different...
Excuse me, go ahead.
No, I was just saying they probably all came in with different methods too, right? They were all different in the way they approached their craft.
Yes, but pretty much at the same time, these people were very real. And they didn't make a big display out of their methods, so to speak. They never talked about acting. They just came in and did it. They had fun doing it, yeah, because Batman was a fun show. And the other thing I wanted to say, you know, Burt mentioned the great villains and the names, the guest stars we had. There are several reasons that this show has gone on and become an evergreen, so-called, for Fox and others. I'm always amazed at the convenience of some in the media who say, oh, it was a fluke. Or, oh, just kind of a campy thing. It wasn't a fluke. This show was carefully crafted by some brilliant people. And we all got married to the same concept early on, and that's what we did, to do it for you people as children, so that you'd be excited and amazed with the comic book characters. But the adults, as you grew older, you would get the ironies, the gags, the absurdities, and find laughs. And I think that's why our show has gone on and on, whereas so many haven't.
You had brilliant writers. I know I was personally friends as Burt, and you were with Stanley Ruff Ross, who's no longer with us. And people don't realize, multiple Emmy winner, wrote the beginning of All in the Family, the beginning of Columbo's series. Brilliant writers like that worked on the show. If it was just some campy fluke, you wouldn't have had the best of the best working with you.
Well, the pilot was written by Lorenzo Semple Jr., who had several plays on Broadway at the time. And I read the pilot script. I thought it was so brilliant and funny. It's the only reason I did it, was that script.
And the money.
Well,
We had any questions? Go ahead.
little rascal.
Along the lines of fun, do you keep up with, or are you concerned with DC Comics' latest version of Batman, Catwoman, and Robin?
I take a look occasionally to see what they're doing. And when I look, there was a thing I saw that somebody gave me last week, and a little sampling. And it was so sexy that I just couldn't read it. I got so excited. But it has changed. You know, they have the Dark Knight right in the new movies, okay? I prefer to think of myself as the Bright Knight. Maybe Neon Knight. Good night.
Any idea when the series might be released on DVD?
And this young lady wanted to know if you have any idea when the series might come out on DVD.
I think that's the first time I've heard that question.
I know, that's going to be a good one.
In the last 1 minute.
You got anything else? Who knows? I mean, Fox and Warner should try to work it out, I guess, you know.
Is that what it is?
And DC Comics.
We heard Burt Ward was holding out for more money. That's not true.